Hello and welcome to Playing Kill Team with Mr. T. These videos are going to show you a demo game and we'll give you all the rules that you need to be able to play Kill Team. The game board I've already set up and I've decided to go for kind of half the standard size of the game board for this game, as it's going to be a much smaller game. There are 4 people on each side. We have Plague Marines from Death Guard, and we have Death Watch. So Death Guard and Death Watch, and both have unique dice. So the Death Guard dice look all grimy and gross and lovely, and the Heroes of the Imperium, the Death Watch, have different dice as well. So once you've got your mission agreed, which is in the Kill Team book, and your play mat set up, I've put a few bits of scenery around. You need to decide who is going to go first. So this is the initiative phase of the game. And the idea is both players roll 2d6, so 2 6-sided dice, and they add those results together. So 6 for Death Guard and 6 for Death Watch. So conveniently, if it is a tie, you roll off again. So 6 again and 6 again. So we'll re-roll for a 3rd time. 7, and with these dice, that is a 6. So 11. So it means that the Death Watch player has the initiative, so they get to move first and go first. In the first round of the game, that means setting up your people. So for this example, I'm going to set them up slightly differently to normal. In a standard game, you have a small area of the board and you set your people up within this area. Because this is going to be a demo game, there's going to be a few different things happening. I'm going to set them up slightly differently. So the first person I'm going to set up is going to be my Black Shield, who's a specialist. And as you see, he has a power maul, so he is very good in close range combat, but he has no ranged weapons at all. So he needs to get up close. So I'm going to set him up in the corner here by this terrain. Then it alternates to the other player. So I am going to set up Rancidius, who is the champion of my Plague Marines. He has a power fist and a big sword, and as you can see, he's not finished in terms of painting. In fact, nowhere near. All I've done is the base coat. So I'm going to set him up across the road from him, literally across the road. I'm then going to set up my Infernus Heavy Bolter on Gegos. He's going to be set up here behind cover. So because he's behind cover, that will make him a little bit harder to hit in the shooting phases later. Who next? I'm going to set up this fella who has a melter gun, which only has a 12-inch range, so I'm going to set him up around about here. Moving on to the Death Watch, I have a frag cannon, which is currently one of the most powerful weapons in the game, and I'm going to stick him in the open there, just for the fun of it. Next I'm going to set up my Blight Launcher, which I'm going to set up, again, kind of in open ground. And finally, I have a bolt pattern, stalker pattern bolt gun, and a power sword. So I'm going to set this guy up back behind cover over here. Finally, I have a bog standard Plague Marine, although he has got a little nurgling with him who is very cute. So I'm going to set him up behind cover over here. So now that we're set up, we can begin the first main phase of the game. So your first phase is initiative. Your second phase is movement. The player with initiative gets to move first. So I am going to, first of all, move this guy, Sol. He has a very good close range weapon, so I'm going to start moving him. In order to move your characters, you will need to refer to your data sheets. So here is one that I prepared earlier. Here you go. I will go through these in a separate video on what all of the information means. But what I'm looking for to start with is the movement, which is here. So it's measured in inches. So he can move 6 inches. So I'm going to take my range ruler, put it at the front of his base, and I can move up to 6 inches, which brings me up to here. So I'm going to move him into there. So he's now no longer in cover, but we'll see how that plays out for him. My second guy I'm going to move is my guy with the frag cannon. I'm only going to move him. Actually, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hold on with that. I'm going to move this guy, not at all. So I'm going to take a readied icon and say that he hasn't moved, so he gets to shoot first in the shooting phase. And I'm going to ready this fella at the back as well, the Infernus Heavy Rifle, because I want to show you this guy. Okay? Now he is a close range specialist, so in order to get the best out of him, he needs to charge. And in order to charge, you have to be within 12 inches of another character. So he's just over 5 inches from the Plague Marine champion. You roll 2 die and see what the result is. If it is within 1 inch, so I would need a it's slightly over 5 inches, so I reckon I'm going to need a 5 realistically to get close. If I roll a 4, it'll be slightly too far away. If when you declare a charge, you are charging someone with a ranged weapon, they get to overwatch. So he is going to charge him. He does have a ranged weapon, so he gets to overwatch. We will come to how overwatch works in a separate video when we look at shooting. But in this context, he's going to run in, so he gets to overwatch first. And because of his weapon, he gets to roll 2 dice. In order to hit, he has to roll and hit a 6. So let's see if he manages it. He does not. He has a 5 and a 2. So his overwatch failed. But let's see if he manages to charge in. So he rolled a 4. So he did not manage to charge. So his charge failed. Not very good. He can move up to that distance. So I could move 4 inches, even though I'm still out of range. But then that means that he would only need to roll, well, a 1 and off 2 dice. That's pretty easy. So he's not going to do anything. He's just going to stay where he is and hope for the best. Because now it moves to the other side of the game. So, again, I'm going to have a readied on my Blight Launcher. And he's going to advance. And the way advancing works is you roll a single die and add that result to your movement. So these guys can only move 5 inches, so they're a bit slower. But I've rolled a 2, so he can move 7 inches. So he's going to move over to here to try and support this fella, who is going to charge at the shield guy. Now, because he does not have a ranged weapon, he cannot overwatch. So all I need to do is roll a 5 or higher, which I did. So he can now charge in, and he will get to attack first in the next round. So I'm going to put a charge token on him to show that he has ran in, and he gets to attack first. So, to summarise, at the very beginning of the battle, you roll 2d6 and add the results together. If you're playing with more people, so you can play this 4 players, all of the players have to roll 2d6, and you go in the order from highest to lowest. So you then set up your characters one at a time. Once you've set up, you begin the movement phase. You can move normally up to the movement on your character card. You can advance, where you roll a single die and add that to the movement so they can run. If you run, you cannot shoot in the next phase. In fact, what I should have done is added that to him, so I now know he cannot shoot in the next phase. Or you can charge, where you roll 2 dice. There is an Overwatch phase where it is shooting, and then if you roll the 2 dice and make the move within 1 inch, you can complete that charge move. So that is initiative and movement. Next, in the next video, we will have a look at the psychic and the shooting phase.